the compassion out there and making us a better community. Over the last couple of weeks, you have noticed here at 13 ABC a real commitment to community in our campaign called This Is Home. Take a listen.
And everybody's here living out our dreams, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Don't be scared, take a chance, come on, give me your hand. It's time to laugh, time to smile, now let's get up and dance. Come on everybody, let's live it up, let it out if you can't get enough. This right here gonna make you jump, jump, jump. This is home.
Any good organization, any good community is made up of different temperaments, talents, and convictions. You notice that a lot in some of what you see there each and every week that we put these stories together. And you're noticing it a lot on social media. I can't tell you how much response we get from this campaign, and it is positive. People wanting to see their community in a good light. It's part of the effort we're talking about today. Before we get to that, I want to talk about a few other things that we've covered in the last couple of months, last couple of weeks, bringing to home, if you will, some of the compassion that's out there in the community. A young Michigan boy, we noticed him on Ellen a couple of weeks ago. He paid it forward and it got national attention. 8-year-old Miles Eckert is his name. We first introduced you to him last month. Miles found a $20 bill in a restaurant, and instead of spending it, he gave the money to a soldier with a thank you note for his service. The backstory was that Miles' father was killed in Iraq when he was just 5 weeks old, and here you see a little bit more of that meeting with Ellen there on a nationally syndicated show. The soldier wanted to pass along the act of kindness and gave all the money to a local charity. Another thing I wanted to show you this morning, or this afternoon rather, is something that appeared in this month's edition of the Toledo City Paper. Toledo City Paper focusing on 20 women who have made a real impact on business here in Toledo. The headline there on the front page, "These Women Mean Business." And I especially want to highlight one of those who were featured in the article, Nikki Myers from Myers Auto Wash. The question that was asked of almost every single one of these 20 great women in our community, the question, best thing about running a business in Northwest Ohio? Her answer, knowing that our struggles and successes are among a community of people that truly care. That leads us into our compassionate community conversation today. I want to introduce my guests to you. They've been waiting patiently for my intro to complete. But I've got Dr. Samina Hassan with us, also Woody Troutman, and across the table from them both is Judy Troutman from the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio. All of you, thank you so much for taking some time. We have you here today because of an event that is coming up at the end of next month. Hard to believe we're already talking about April already. We also have an event that's coming up in just a little bit of time here at 1 o'clock down at the Peristyle at the Toledo Museum of Art. We will get into all of that in just a second, but Judy, I will start with you. As a member and as a board member of the Multi-Faith Council, and you heard what I talked about a little bit there at the beginning, and this sense of community, is it there in Toledo right now? Why does it need to be better?
Well, we've been working with the Multi-Faith Council for about 13 years, and we have built a community across faith lines. It's wonderful. We see the results of it when we come into one of our activities and there's a hum of happy people that are working together. Mm-hmm. I became acquainted with the Compassionate City movement a few years ago, and 3.5 years ago I made us a candidate. Mm-hmm. And one of the goals of this is to uplift the positive stories, which we have many of in Toledo. I love Toledo, and we do have a wonderful, compassionate community here.
We've got a website dedicated. We've got that pulled up for people at home. CompassionateToledo.org is the place to go, and if you want to check out more, but go ahead. Talk about this Compassionate Community Declaration and how we, I guess, came upon this.
Well, I became aware of it pretty early on when the first city, Seattle, so declared. There really aren't many requirements to a campaign, but one of the crucial ones is that you need to set long-range goals. And we decided as a committee that our goal should be to encourage collaboration and networking amongst the individuals and organizations that are already doing compassionate work, so that we can come up with collaborative solutions to critical issues in the community. You can always do more if you do it together.
You've got a convention which is coming up, Dr. Hassan. You've got a convention coming up at the end of April, April 25th. We will get more into the specifics of that in just a minute. But this is a day-long event which you guys are taking it upon yourself to take over the Seagate Convention Center downtown. And I use that kind of tongue-in-cheek. I use that lightly. Take over in the realm that you are hoping to pack solid all members of the community to come out to this thing.
Yes, we are hoping that that will happen because, like Judy mentioned, that it is a collaborative effort on the part of different organizations which have been involved in compassionate work in Toledo and in Northwest Ohio. We are hoping and that with that collaborative effort, the entire city will benefit. The purpose is for people to we all love Toledo, and for us to bring Toledo to the national level as a livable city, as a wonderful city to raise your kids in.
There have been some polls that have come out of late that have not smiled upon Northwest Ohio, southeastern Michigan.
But you see, if you look at everyday work of individuals, I see nothing but compassion towards each other. And if you look at the work of organizations which are involved, starting from education to the health sector and even to the media, we are all involved in making Toledo look beautiful, compassionate city. And we are. And that is what we are trying to promote by holding the convention on the 25th of April at Seagate Center. And it is a whole day event, but the convention will start at 12 o'clock and till 8 o'clock. And we are hoping city will be designated that day as a compassionate city, and the Lucas County will have the privilege of becoming the first region in United States to be designated as a compassionate center.
Why is that important? I mean, in the overall realm of things, I mean, for years, Toledo, known as the Glass City, took pride upon the fact that glass manufacturing was so important here. Frogtown, USA. I mean, we saw the frogs, Cardi Finkbeiner in office made sure that they were emblazoned all across town, making sure that people recognized that, this black swamp that Toledo hailed from. But when you talk about compassion, it is a concept. It is a theory, but you want to turn it into more action. Is that correct?
Let's call it an advertisement for Toledo, so that Toledo not only becomes known in United States, in our own region as a compassionate city, but also worldwide, because we as compassionate partners, Multi-Faith Council and other partners of Multi-Faith Council, namely United Muslims Association of Toledo, are international partners with the global compassionate movement. So this movement is not just restricted to this region. This movement is worldwide, and we want to be a part of the world that we live in. So,
and also, as we look at rebranding Toledo, because we haven't told our positive story well. As we look at rebranding, usually the concepts are economic, and that's important because we do need jobs, we do need businesses, that's important. But you can't interest a company to reestablish itself in our northwestern Ohio area if you don't have a warm community for the family. And what I hear from people who are moving into this region is that this is a welcoming community, and we want to capitalize on that, improve it, make it even better.
Do you see this as a bigger, and Woody, I'll bring you in on this. I mean, do you see, as Judy points out, when we hear about Toledo building itself back up, we start with the economy, we go to jobs, we talk about the schools, education, but do you see this being an equal argument as far as showing signs of compassion as far as the community is concerned?
Oh, by all means.
Why is that?
Well, if each person does a random act of kindness every day, that will multiply. The next person will do that the same way. Everybody will feel better, and they'll do a better job in their home, in their work, in their community. So it's sort of catchy.
Yeah. Is it too much of a utopia goal, you think? I mean, you're not going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there, you know, buying the lunch for the person behind them in the drive-through line.
No, if they simply smile at each other and say hello as they pass on the sidewalk, everyone becomes has a better feeling about the community, about their neighbors.
Yeah, Dr. Hassan, I think on that same frame of mind, not only he talked about people smiling at each other, and I think that it kind of touches on something when you look at Toledo and the complications that have existed over the years in trying to create more of this melting pot, because there has been kind of an influx of names, of faces, of faiths coming into our community. They've been here for a long time, don't get me wrong, but there's been growth. So is it the goal? Is it your goal to try to harness that and be kind of the guiding force for it?
Yes, we are hoping that instead of becoming a melting pot, we remain the casserole that we are.
You think that's a negative connotation?
I don't.
Melting pot?
I think melting pot is something where you go into a pot and you come out the same color. Now, not necessarily that is bad, but with the efforts that we are doing as a multi-faith council, we retain the identity of who we are, and yet we bring the mission of our faiths together.
Do you think there's a real disconnect? Let me interrupt real quick. Do you think there's a real disconnect when it comes to religion, understanding, education, acceptance, also of nationality here in our area?
I personally have not witnessed that. Because I immigrated to this town, and this town has been nothing but home to me. And I personally have not faced that. I've heard stories, but I have not faced that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I feel that
Do you think there's too much? Do you think there's ignorance?
Yes, I think there's a lot of ignorance about each other unless we work together. Like Judy said, when we listen to each other's stories, and when we work together, those disconnects which are there between us really don't remain anymore. And that ignorance goes away. And that is what we are trying to do, is invite the whole entire city to come together, to work together, to make this a better livable place.
And you are getting people to jump on board. We wanted to show a couple of the proclamations that have come across over the last week or so, a couple of weeks. Lucas County jumping on board. We can show you there at home a couple of those graphics we have to show you. They brought forth this proclamation from Carol Contrada, Tina Skelton-Wozniak, and Pete Gerken. Judy, talk a little bit about this proclamation.
We were really pleased about that. We were equally pleased by the city proclamation, which preceded it. But it was a great moment to have Lucas County on board, because
Basically saying what?
basically saying that the region commits to using compassion as a strategy towards addressing critical issues in the community, especially as they affect the most vulnerable.
Not only from Lucas County, also let's show the one from the city of Toledo. Why you said that one preceded it? Why was that one as equally important, if not more?
Well, it started as a compassionate city movement, and we've just kind of broadened it because we felt that in Toledo, when we talk about Greater Toledo, we talk about a lot of communities that surround us, and a lot of the compassionate action comes from those communities also. We don't want to leave anybody out. And we're proud of Northwest Ohio. I think sometimes we get short shrift in Ohio as the northwest corner, but we have a lot of positives here, and we have a good baseline to build from. And it is important to build. We don't want to negate the negatives. We just want to improve.
We've got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the media involvement and trying to get the word out. Also, some of these events that are coming up that you are being invited to. Hands down, we want everybody to attend these events. We'll be back right after this break on the Roundtable. Stay with us.